30 seconds. So the goal for our call today is to, I'll share my screen now, is to go through the status of the project very briefly, and then we're going to have Mark and Barry and Mark talk about the transition to WEF. Kaisra is going to talk about give us an update of what's going on the people topics, and then Jason, you offered to make a presentation on a UAIM primer. I haven't seen it, but I'm excited to see what Jason's got up his sleeve. So let me just, as far as the update, I just want to sort of show where we're going. We had in the last week or so, I mean, not week, by 2 weeks, I guess, we have submitted the draft final report to WRF. I received 2 reviews that were fairly positive from the reviewers, and 2 more are to come so far. Pretty good comments, and we're going to use these 2 months, this month and next month. A lot of them, we're going to have to do some small touch-ups to the final report, but really start transitioning and preparing for the tradition for WEF. And I want to say, sort of just put things in context and show a taste of where we want to go eventually, that we really have, you know, these business goals and that are driving things and answer the question why, the methodology we've been working with that answer the question how, and this value generation, people, process, technology has been the focus for our conversation. And then change management, which we worked on in terms of sharing, but not yet really doing much research in, is really about the interaction between these value generation components, the people, the processes, and technology. So it sort of envelops all these things and interacts with all the components, the workforce, the processes, the organization, and the technology. And it's really part of our mission statement for WISE is to implement change management focused on value and overall performance. So what do we envision having in the future? On the left side, where you see workforce and organization, are the 2 things that Kaisra is going to be talking about. And these little lines and boxes are the categories that we've been working on in the past few months. So we would like to have a method, so they will provide us, and on the right side, we have the business process management implementation and delivery, which we've been looking at with our business process modeling and our CIP improvement initiatives. So we're going to have a way to assess where we are in terms of the maturity level on each one of these components. In the lower right corner is the technology, which I'm working on through a different project for WRF called Smart Utilities and Intelligent Water Systems. So when it all gets together, when it all is like this, we can assess the current state and then define where we want to be, which is all we've been doing, and it's all sort of part of this improvement and change management. And then define a transition for the components where we would like to increase the maturity levels. And just to show a little bit of, you know, more focus and detail, that would sort of show us where we need to make improvements and give us a holistic view of items we need to think about. I'm just going to mention a little bit about the part on the technology part. So change management is going to basically be, you know, how do we move these things? And so on the left side, we have change management and, you know, making improvements. but we'll also need to deal with resistance to change and deal with that as we look at change management. And on the risk side, and we've been working on risk, we have the threats and then vectors of attack and also vectors of defense. I just want to say that it's important to look at these things holistically, because on an example, many people are concerned about cybersecurity. So there's a tendency to view it as a technology issue. However, more often than not, the problem does not occur because of technology, but because of lack of training or documentation or processes or policies and so forth. So this was all that I wanted to share today. I want to ask if there are any questions before we move on to Barry and Mark.
I have a quick question.
Sure.
Will this presentation be uploaded for us to kind of go? We went through it pretty quickly, and I'm actually really interested in kind of taking a look at it more in depth.
Absolutely. The recording of this presentation will be there, and I'll send a link. And also the presentation itself will be there. This was a snippet from a larger presentation that will be provided to the Utility Management Committee from AWWA and WEF next week. So what I would prefer is I can give the broader, bigger presentation rather than just a few slides that I've given here, and I'll post those.
Perfect. Perfect.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay, since we have not much time, Barry, you ready? You're on mute.
Yeah, sure. Mark, were you going to say anything, or is this just
sure? Sure, I'd be happy to kick it off. And we didn't rehearse our transition here, but so anything I don't say, please help me fill in. But we've got some great news. We've got we're a long ways into the transition now to moving to the Water Environment Federation for WISE moving to the to WEF, and we've got good endorsement from the Strategic Steering Committee. I'm in the process of contacting the current members to see if they want to continue on in an oversight capacity as we make this transition. There's a number of links that have been put together, marketing information. I'd be happy to share some of that. As a matter of fact, I'll just share my screen real quickly here to show you. So thanks to the fine staff at WEF, you can see we have our Water Entrepreneurs for Successful Enterprises page is up and running. Tells you about the program, what the contact information is, how you can subscribe, right? And that'll be how we move forward. And also the resources, this is where it'll be posted. So to have access to the long-term access to the portal will be posted here, and you'll be able to get that information. So we've made great progress, and I'm going to hand it over to Barry at this point to take it from here.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Mark. Yeah, so we're very excited, of course, of continuing this, because this effort, basically started out of a WEF committee a long time ago. So the outreach that's going to be happening, Cello mentioned the UMC meeting this next week, and then I'm giving a presentation to the Water and Wastewater CIO Forum on the 29th to share the information about WISE and the efforts of this group, and how that might maybe we can bring some of them in to expand this. WEF will also be reaching out to the Utility Partner Program, which is about 400 utilities, and sharing the information. We've got some, basically the sales material with the, a one-page flyer, and then the technical report, which will be released next week. That kind of goes over, it's about 20 pages. I think everybody's seen that right now, but it talks about all the fundamentals of WISE and where it's going. A couple of other things from a from a framework perspective, you can, click on the application form, and so we can generate the invoices to get everybody there, and then there's a place on there on the application form that that says, invoicing instructions. So if you say, I can't get this paid until whatever date, the invoicing instruction line right there. So in order to get everybody handle all those kind of details. One other really great news for us is that Fidan Karimova is joining our team starting on Monday. So she'll be the continuity will be great. And then there's a couple of other more long range things that I would like to mention. One of which is that we are starting to run simulations, workshops and simulations of of corporate innovation techniques using the lean startup method. We would love to have some WISE participants as beta testers of this simulation. It's about a 5-hour workshop that we'd be happy to provide complimentary access for WISE WISE members to trying to bring a little bit more of that corporate innovation techniques. And then one personal note is when I see all this maturity model stuff, it's very interesting, especially to me, because I am actually a lead appraiser for CMMI 2.0, which is capability maturity integration, model integration. So I will. I'm always interested in seeing what's going on, and will be available as a resource for that as well. I see somebody's got their
Charlie Stevens has a question or a comment.
Yep, Charlie.
Sorry, Barry, acronym didn't hit me. So you mentioned wastewater CIO group. So
Yep.
What is that?
That is a group of about 50 CIOs from the largest water and wastewater utilities throughout the country. It's a group very similar to this kind of thing, where they get together and once a year to talk about stuff that's just for CIOs. Give them a forum. Very utility centric. There also is a partner group that's the Water and Wastewater CFO Forum as well, that they were last week. But it's a group of about 50 water CFOs from like Denver, Boston, LA, Loudoun Water.
I've participated in it a few times. They're really good forums.
So it's not like executive directors of WEF, NACWA, those kind of.
No, it's utilities only. And in fact, the group formed probably about 12 years ago, specifically to avoid that.
So the other question around that, is there any private water companies or wastewater companies in that?
I don't know if there's any privates.
Because I was thinking, this might be another marketing option.
Yeah.
I know this isn't the executive committee, but it might be a marketing option when you think about American Water, Veolia, some of those other large players. So just food for thought, Mark and Barry.
Yeah, good observation. We also are trying to do presentations at regional association conferences. So Mike Stahl and I from the City of Grand Rapids are scheduled to do a WISE presentation at the Michigan Water Environment Association conference in late June, and I've submitted an abstract for the Pacific Northwest, which I presented at before, but obviously there's quite a big update. I presented a couple of years ago. So, yep, we're definitely going out there doing marketing.
Is is anybody going to do the Missouri Association or the Iowa Association that you're aware of? Those, I don't know. I think the Iowa group maybe moved theirs to August. I know Missouri's MA's in August.
That I don't know, but we definitely would be happy to partner with anybody. I mean, to me, it would be great if a local, like Mike and I did, you know, we partnered together to kind of bring up someone who's there locally in the state as part of a utility, and then we're going to the conference. And so, yeah, if we have some little bit of lead time, that's another marketing effort we could definitely work on and partner somebody up.
Yeah, I'd be happy to work with you on those two if you want.
Great. Iowa and Missouri, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I was at the Iowa a couple of years ago. So that's a really nice conference.
Yeah, I gave a paper that year you were there.
Yeah.
Ramona also has her hand up.
Good morning. Incidentally, I had a meeting with Baltimore City Bureau Head for our water utilities yesterday. As many of you may know, we're about to get a new director. He is very interested in change management, and in speaking with the Bureau Head, one of the things he wants to do in the very, very near future, just as this transition is going to be happening, is to get in front of it and talk with our new director, present to our new director, so that we continue to be a part of this and support the transition to WF and WISE and really implement it for Baltimore City. So I wanted to get some information so that I can have that conversation, because I may have to, they're asking me lots of questions and to provide lots of input. So I want to be prepared to give those answers appropriately and point them in the right direction. So if I can get some help with putting that together, that would be great.
Sure.
I think we can do that.
Yeah.
Cello.
Yeah, I just wanted to let Ramona know, in the chat line, I gave you a link. I posted the slides that I presented a few minutes earlier already. I'd be happy to post or share the bigger one as well, but this one was handy, so I posted it there, and the link should be in the chat line. Let me know if it doesn't work.
Okay, perfect.
That's all.
And we can, and when you get ready to present to your new executive, we can certainly work with you to help customize a presentation on the points you think will speak particularly to that person and to your organization.
Oh, that would be great.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I think that's happening in short order, maybe within the next few weeks. So I will get the date of our senior leadership meeting that our Bureau Head wants us to present at, and then I can let you know.
Great. And I see in the chat, Zonetta's also offered to help. So thank you, Zonetta.
Perfect.
Okay. Oh, can't hear you, Zonetta.
Thought I muted myself. I always talk too much, but I was going to say, Ms. Ramona, that I'd be more than happy to help you with anything, conversation, or we can talk over the phone to help you through your whatever slides Mr. Poland gives you, because I've been at it a long time. So I'd be more than happy to help you.
Wonderful. That'd be
Yes,
great, because we really want to continue this for our organization, and the Bureau Head is really passionate about moving this forward and being a part of it.
Great.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Okay, I think that's it for the update.
Yes. Thank you. Our next speaker is Kaisra, and she'll tell us about the wonderful work that the core group has been doing the past few weeks or months on the people topic. So either Mark or yes, thank you. There it is. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Cello. So I'm going to just give you a really quick and brief update on the organizational culture and workforce maturity model that we had a couple of large teams and then a smaller core team work on. This the context of this maturity or this presentation really is going to give you is an idea of the process that we went through, what the outcome was, and what our next steps are. So I think a lot of you have probably seen this funnel before. We started off with over 400 statements that we gathered through various workshops for organizational culture and workforce. And we sort of looked at them and then collapsed them into 45 categories. That I think that initial lift was pretty gruesome for us because there was so much good information there. We created level 5 maturity statements so we could sort of recognize what really these statements mean to us. We then realized that, you know, we had 45 categories, which was really too much. There was a lot of overlap. So then we worked on it, collapsed it further into 20 categories, aligned them into different areas of change management. And then we took those and placed them into 7 categories, which is what we ended up with. So that helped us then develop our assessment model. So what the outcome of the 7 categories, those categories included organizational strategy and performance. So we had a number of questions underneath that category: organizational values, responsibility and accountability, employee engagement, teamwork and collaboration, reward and recognition, communication feedback. So basically those 400 sort of general statements that we came up with really fit into one of these categories. And then from these categories, we created tier 1 survey questions. And the total number of questions we came up with was 20. As we did this and we did some research and talked to a lot of people, they said the shorter the survey, the more inclined people are to take it. So we wanted not to miss out on key information, but at the same time keep it where most people would take the survey. So we also, as part of this last phase, was we refined those level 5 maturity statements for all of these 7 categories. So what are our next steps? We want to develop tier 2 questions. We realized that really to get an understanding of where the organization is, those tier 1 questions may not be enough. So we want to develop tier 2 questions that your organizations can use for a deeper dive in areas where they get unfavorable responses. If we think like, okay, we're not doing so well in this particular category, then they may want to expand that questions on those categories. So we want to work on those. Glossary of terms, I think across the board, all utilities think of different things in different ways. And so we want to make sure that key performance indicators, for example, what does that really, what does a KPI mean in terms of this survey? So people have a good understanding. We also want to develop a framework to test the assessment model that we're developing. And so that's our, under UAIM, that's what we want to accomplish. And then under WISE, we will take that pilot framework and sort of pilot it and then refine the process as we move forward. And that's it, unless anyone has any questions.
Well, you can always reach to us, Jason, with questions, and we have such limited time. And Jason, are you ready to fire up your presentation? And I understand some of you may have meetings. If this runs over a little bit over the time, I apologize. Jason, you're muted.
I was inspired by.
Okay. I think Jason has wireless issues.
You not hear? You not?
Let me.
It shows you're on mute, Jason.
I'm also I'm sending messages that connection seems to be weak. Jason seems to be in deep freeze. Okay.
One possibility is that, we do it next time, Cello.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I'm typing. Okay. Okay, I sent Jason. It's
Hello, can people hear me?
We can hear you now, but there are some really
Hello?
technical. Yes, I think your connection is not stable, so maybe we can pick it up since we're out of time already. Maybe we can pick it up next time if that's okay with you.
He's smiling even though he's not. Yeah.
Well,
he must be agreeing.
Okay, sure. Chat.
Okay, so I'm sorry about that. Let me just stop recording.